Residents of the eKhanana Commune. This is a place in Durban. They're fearing for their lives following yet another murder of a community leader. 40-year-old Nokuthula Mabaso was gunned down last week outside her home in the commune. She was believed to be a key witness in the murder of another leader from the community who was killed in March. Newzroom Afrika's Karinda Jagmohan sets the context for the conversation we're about to have.
More than 50 families live in the eKhanana commune near Durban. A garden and poultry farm surround the informal structures, so residents can live off the land, but now they live in fear. 40-year-old Nokuthula Mabaso died outside her home on Thursday evening. She had just come from a community meeting to feed her 4 children when gunmen crept up behind her and opened fire. She was found lying in a pool of blood here with 6 bullet wounds.
And kids couldn't walk outside. They have to cover themselves with a blanket in the room because it was late in the evening, around 7:30 in the night. And then all people from the hall, they will try to escape the hall because they could hear the sound that it's close and near. When they walk out trying to run and come and see which side, and they saw like on Nokuthula Mabaso's house. And then when they come and they've seen her lying on the floor.
It's the second murder in 3 months. Mabaso was a community leader and part of the shack dwellers movement Abahlali Basemjondolo. Another leader, Ayanda Ngila, was gunned down at the settlement in March.
As we speak now, the chairperson and the general secretary are still on hiding. So she's the one that has to take the lead and make sure that the community still runs smoothly with no fear and no favor, without fearing anyone. She was right as she have seen. So she was also going to be a key witness of that case of Ayanda, of which that threat came to her that we believe it was one of those that she must be removed because she's the one that she still continue with the work that Abahlali do here in eKhanana.
The movement claims that local politicians and business people are behind the attacks to take over the land, and police are not safeguarding this community.
I have to drive straight away to a Kwaketo police station, where I found only 2 police officers were standing outside and asked, this has been 2 hours, why are you not answering the calls? And they confirmed that we heard the gunshots, but you're not going and assist. What is the story? And then from there, the police has to come with us in the area. And then you could see even those 2 police officers, they came, they told us straight they don't have a backup because we knew that even the perpetrators are not even far, still around. But we could not even get an assistant to any cop to come and patrol the area. And then that's a very big sad side on us. That it's very painful to us that we see the ministers when the kids of the elites have been killed. Yes, it's difficult for us to compare their lives, but in this moment we are forced to compare because we don't even see any government authority come and closer and see what is happening to us.
Meanwhile, residents say they'll continue living in this self-sustaining village despite the attacks on their leaders.
All right, so that's the context for the conversation we're now about to have with the ANC spokesperson in KwaZulu-Natal, Nhlakanipho Ntombela, who joins us from Pinetown. Mr. Ntombela, thank you very much for your time. Can I get the party's reaction to these ongoing murders?
Only any matter is unwelcome in the province of KwaZulu-Natal because of the background of this province and where we come from. It becomes worse when it's a woman who's shot the way she was shot. So as the ANC, we first and foremost send a word of condolences to the family first and foremost, and the organization she belongs to, Abahlali Basemjondolo.
Yeah.
That we condemn as an organization in strongest terms, and we hope that police will do their work to speedily make an arrest on those issues.
Let me pick up on that point. Let me pick up on that point. I'm sorry to rush you there. Time is against us. Let's talk about the accusations that have been leveled to say these murders stem from organizations such as your leadership in the local sphere, and the leaders of this organization, the Shack Dwellers Movement, Abahlali Basemjondolo, they've been very clear that these murders are linked to the ANC local leaders who do not want for them to exist. Now, I don't know how you're going to respond to this.
I just had a conversation with one councillor of 101 in eThekwini, and he was surprised when I inquired about this matter, because on their side, they've got cordial relations with Abahlali Basemjondolo in that one. So he could not understand the issues. In fact, he enlightened further that the person we are speaking of seemingly was residing in Wat 30, not in Wat 101. He further even went on to say that he is even prepared to convene a meeting between them as the local leadership and the local Abahlali Basemjondolo, where we can come as the provincial leadership, so that we can know and see for ourselves that they have good working relations. So there might be problems in other areas which I can't dispute because I might not be familiar or aware of. But in the area I was speaking of, it's a contrary view what we have received on the ground from our structures. Hence, on our side as the ANC, we say if there is pure criminality, police must investigate. One problem we must understand when you speak of these informal settlements, you speak with the police themselves, they will tell you how difficult it is to police the nature of the area as it is. It's so much congested. If you remember, in Ward 101, we lost a candidate of the ANC on the eve of the elections. He was shot-at. Up until today, no one has been arrested in that area.
Yeah.
We have not gone on to speculate that who is behind that. We have allowed the law enforcement agents to do their work. But our worry also is that there has been a delay on the police investigation of some of these matters. There have been a number of unresolved matters in this province which end up leading people to speculate, which does not assist in the situation.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point I want to enter into, Mr. Ntombela, to say that you have heard in that story that was compiled by our reporter, the person responding on behalf of the organization suggesting that children of the elite, we see ministers and senior police officials rushing to the scenes of the crime, including to the families. But in this instance, where it is a nobody, as they put it, no one rushes to those scenes. It talks to exactly to what you are now complaining about. So what are you doing as the governing party to cajole those that you have deployed in government, including the officials that they lead?
We were in the legislature yesterday debating the budget of the Department of Community Safety. If you could have seen my speech there, I was speaking exactly on those issues. That part of the problem we have within the police service in the province is that their response on the issues makes the government of the day to be in jeopardy, because they don't respond timeously on the issues. But their investigations, as a ruling party ourselves, we've got a concern in regard to that. In this province, you are familiar. Comrade Makata was killed in Maritzburg. No one has been arrested till today. Comrade Papan was a ward councillor in Imlaz, was killed. Nobody has been arrested till today. Comrade Sbusbia, the former regional secretary of Ethiopian, was killed. There are a number of high-profile cases in this province which has not been solved. So there is a challenge which we have identified, and we are having engagement with the national minister to say that the task team we had appointed in the province, can there be a plan that they interact with the structures at the lower levels, but more so the affected families in the most, to give them update on their investigations or progress thereof. Because if everyone is always speculating like this without knowing what is happening, you leave many people uncertain and doubting the capacity of the state in dealing with these matters.
Ntombela, let's leave it there. Speaking for the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal.